My stepbrother claimed he built my business from the ground up and tried to take over. I exposed his lies, took legal action, and cut him out completely. I'm 35, male, and after a decade of sleepless nights and relentless effort, I finally built my own business. A small but thriving tech consultancy firm. I started it from scratch, pouring every ounce of time, energy, and savings I had into making it successful. The business wasn't just my livelihood, it was my dream come true. I took pride in knowing that every client we gained and every project we completed was the result of hard work and perseverance. Enter my stepbrother, B. We weren't close growing up, and our relationship had always been strained. B was the kind of person who liked shortcuts. He bounced from one half-baked idea to another, always looking for a quick payday without putting in the work. Despite our differences, I tried to help him when he needed it. About 2 years ago, I hired him for a junior position in my company. He wasn't particularly skilled, but I figured I could train him. Plus, it felt like the right thing to do. At first, things seemed fine. B showed up to work on time, completed his assignments, and stayed out of trouble. But as the months went by, I started noticing little things that didn't sit right. He'd exaggerate his contributions during meetings, taking credit for ideas that weren't his. He'd butter up clients, making it sound like he was the mastermind behind projects he barely understood. I chalked it up to insecurity and let it slide, thinking it wasn't worth making a big deal out of. That was my first mistake. Things escalated during a major project with a high-profile client. My team and I had spent weeks preparing, but during the final presentation, B hijacked the meeting. He spoke over me, presented ideas as if they were his own, and even implied that the company's success was largely thanks to him. The client looked confused, but I kept my composure, deciding to address it privately later. After the meeting, I pulled him aside. "What was that about?" I asked, trying to keep my tone calm. "What do you mean?" he said, feigning innocence. "I was just contributing." "Contributing doesn't mean taking credit for other people's work," I said firmly. "This isn't a one-man show, B. We're a team." He shrugged, brushing me off. "Relax. It's all in the family, right?" That response should have been another red flag, but I let it go, thinking he'd learn with time. Spoiler alert, he didn't. The real trouble began 6 months ago, when I started hearing rumors from employees and clients. B had been telling people that he was essentially running the company, and that I was more of a figurehead. At first, I dismissed it as harmless boasting. But then, during a networking event, a potential investor approached me and said, "Your stepbrother has been telling me all about how he built this business from the ground up. Impressive stuff." I felt my stomach churn. "Excuse me?" I said. "This business was my idea, my effort, and my money. B joined 2 years ago as an employee." The investor looked surprised. "That's not what he said." I confronted B the next day. "What are you telling people about the company?" I asked, trying to keep my anger in check. He gave me his usual smirk. "What do you mean?" "I mean, why are clients and investors under the impression that you built this business? You've been here for 2 years, B. 2 years out of the 10 I've put into this." He shrugged. "I'm just trying to make connections. You know how it is. People respect confidence." "That's not confidence, that's lying," I said, my voice rising. "You're damaging the company's reputation and undermining my leadership." Instead of apologizing, he doubled down. "Maybe you're just jealous that people like my approach better. Ever think about that?" It was infuriating. He wasn't just entitled, he was delusional. Still, I decided to handle the situation professionally. I sent out a company-wide email clarifying leadership roles, ensuring that everyone, clients, employees, and investors, knew who was actually in charge. I hoped that would be enough to shut down his antics. But B didn't take the hint. If anything, he ramped up his behavior. He started scheduling meetings with clients behind my back, making promises he had no authority to make. He even began floating the idea of taking the company in a new direction, as if he had any say in the matter. Employees started coming to me with complaints, worried about the confusion he was causing. Then, one day, I found out he had crossed the line. A client forwarded me an email B had sent, claiming he was the co-founder of the company and suggesting that I was no longer fully involved in day-to-day operations. Worse, he had signed the email as the acting CEO. I was livid. I called an emergency meeting with my lawyer. What are my options? I asked, showing them the email. This is serious, my lawyer said. He's misrepresenting himself and the company. If this continues, it could lead to legal and financial consequences. You need to take action. Together, we drafted a cease and desist letter, demanding that B stop making false claims about his role in the company. I delivered it to him personally. When I handed him the letter, he scoffed. You're really going to lawyer up against your own brother? You're not my brother, I said coldly. You're an employee who's been overstepping his bounds. If you don't stop, I'll have no choice but to escalate this. His smirk faltered, but he still tried to play it off. Fine. Have it your way. I hoped that would be the end of it, but B wasn't done. A week later, I found out he'd been spreading rumors among clients and employees, claiming I was planning to sell the company and that he was taking over as the new owner. The audacity was staggering. One of my most loyal employees, who had been with me since the beginning, pulled me aside. You need to know what B's been saying, they told me. He's trying to position himself as your replacement. A few clients are already confused about who's really in charge. That was the breaking point. It wasn't just about my reputation anymore. It was about the survival of the company I had worked so hard to build. I called a meeting with my lawyer and my accountant. I want him out, I said. What's the cleanest way to sever ties? My lawyer nodded. We'll need to issue a formal termination notice. Make sure all company property, emails, accounts, and materials is secured immediately. And we'll want to keep detailed records in case he tries anything retaliatory. The plan was set. The next day, I called B into my office and handed him his termination papers. You're done here, I said firmly. Effective immediately. His face twisted with anger. You can't do this. I've put so much into this company, more than you ever have. That's a lie, I said. You've done nothing but cause chaos and spread misinformation. You've left me no choice. He stood up, slamming his hands on my desk. You'll regret this, he snarled. You think this company will survive without me? Good luck. After he left, I spent the rest of the day securing all accounts and notifying clients of the change. I made it clear that B was no longer associated with the company and that any claims he made should be disregarded. But B wasn't done. Over the next few weeks, he tried to sabotage me. He reached out to clients, telling them I was incompetent and that they should take their business elsewhere. He even started posting on social media, claiming I had stolen the company from him. At that point, I decided it was time to escalate legally. With my lawyer's guidance, I filed a defamation lawsuit against B. We had a mountain of evidence, emails, client statements, and even screenshots of his social media posts. The case was airtight. When B received the legal notice, he tried to brush it off at first, but it didn't take long for him to realize he was in over his head. At the court hearing, my lawyer laid everything out. The judge didn't seem impressed by B's excuses, especially when we showed how his lies had directly caused confusion among clients and potential damage to my business. The court ruled in my favor, and B was ordered to pay damages and cease all defamatory actions immediately. The look on his face as the judgment was read was priceless. He had tried to steal my hard work, but now he was the one paying the price. After the lawsuit, B's reputation was in shambles. Word spread quickly in our industry about what he had done. No one wanted to work with someone who would lie and manipulate to get ahead. He tried reaching out to me, leaving voicemails full of half-hearted apologies and pleas to let bygones be bygones. I didn't bother responding. Meanwhile, my company bounced back stronger than ever. Clients who had been hesitant during the drama recommitted to working with us, and my team rallied together, grateful that the chaos was finally over. I even held a team meeting to personally thank everyone for sticking with me during such a turbulent time. Looking back, I learned a valuable lesson. Family doesn't give someone the right to take advantage of you. B tried to exploit our relationship for his own gain, but I stood my ground and protected what I had built. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. If you've ever had to deal with someone trying to take credit for your hard work, remember this. Your success is yours, and no one has the right to steal it. And if you enjoyed this story of justice served, hit that subscribe button. Life's too short to let entitled people take what's yours. Stay tuned for more tales of taking a stand and winning big.